Good afternoon, guys. This is Dalia Shami, and this video is about The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. The Mask of the Red Death is a strong example of the Gothic genre, since it explores the theme of the inevitability of death. The plot of The Mask of the Red Death is actually quite simple. The Red Death is a fictional plague sweeping through the land, and it causes its victims to die quickly and gruesomely. Even though this disease is spreading rampantly, the Prince Prospero, who is the main character of this short story, feels happy and hopeful. He decides to lock the gates of his palace in order to fend off the plague, ignoring the illness ravaging the land. And now we're gonna tackle some excerpts from the original text. The Red Death had long devastated the country. No pestilence had ever been so fatal or so hideous. Blood was its savitor and its seal, the redness and the odor of blood. There were sharp pains and sudden deadness, and then profuse bleeding at the pores, with dissolution. The scarlet stains upon the body and especially upon the face of the victim were the past ban which shut him out from the aid and from the sympathy of his fellow men. And the whole procedure, progress, and termination of the disease were the incidents of half an hour. But the Prince Prospero was happy and dauntless and sagacious. When his dominions were half depopulated, he summoned to his presence 1,000 hale and light-hearted friends from among the knights and the dames of his court, and with these retired to the deep seclusion of one of his castellated abbeys. If we move several lines below, we can see that despite the plague being quite horrific and consisting of symptoms like sweating blood and dying within just 30 minutes, the nobles think that they are safe in the abbey. We can see that the abbey was amply provisioned. With such precautions, the courtiers might but defiance the contagion. The external world could take care of itself. In the meantime, it was fully to grieve or to think. The prince had provided all the appliances of pleasure. There were buffoons, there were improvisatori, there were ballet dancers, there were musicians, there was beauty, there was wine. All these and security were within. Without was the Red Death. In fact, they are so relaxed about their situation that Prospero hosts a big masquerade ball. It was toward the 5th or the 6th month of his seclusion, and while the pestilence raged most furiously abroad, that the Prince Prospero entertained his 1,000 friends at a masked ball of the most unusual magnificence. It was a voluptuous scene, that masquerade. But first let me tell you of the rooms in which it was held. Here we can see how, after several months, he threw the fancy masquerade ball. For this celebration, he decorated the rooms of his house in single colors. The easternmost room is decorated in blue, with blue stained glass windows. The next room is purple, with the same stained glass window pattern. The rooms continue westward according to this design, in the following color arrangement: green, orange, white, and violet. The 7th room is black, with red windows. This room contains a huge clock that scares the guests whenever it comes to an hour. However, the clock does not disturb the masquerade for long. People keep partying until it strikes midnight. When the clock rings each hour, it sounds so loud and distracting that everyone stops talking and the orchestra stops playing. When the clock is not sounding, though, the rooms are so beautiful and strange that they seem to be filled with dreams. Most guests, however, avoid the final black and red room, because it contains both the clock and an ominous ambience. Then a mysterious figure shows up, which is disturbing because the doors of the abbey are well shut to keep all the plague-infested people out. The figure is dressed in a bloody robe, and the figure's mask is designed to look like someone who has died from the Red Death. Prospero becomes angry that someone anyone with so little humor and levity would join his party. The other guests, however, are so afraid of this masked man that they fail to prevent him from walking through each room. Prospero finally catches up to the new guests in the black and red room. As soon as he confronts the figure, Prospero dies. When other partygoers enter the room to attack the cloaked man, they find that there is nobody beneath the costume. Everyone then dies, for the Red Death has infiltrated the castle. Darkness and decay and the Red Death have at last triumphed. Good afternoon, guys. This is